Hey guys, your guy John coming at you with another Union Arena video. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually showcase the deck that I utilize to actually win. I want to say I won 3 out of 4 of the Demon Slayer championships. And actually, when I say 3 out of 4, um, I think I might have actually only, I think I might have won 3 out of 3. I don't know that I actually went to a fourth one. I'd have to look back at the records. Not too worried about it. Overall, though, I am very satisfied with the deck that I built that worked very well for this Demon Slayer Rare Battle event. But on top of it, what I wanted to showcase was just some kind of like thoughts on the deck that I built, particularly because I saw a lot of variations out there. And then I also wanted to go through my notes and like kind of my thoughts on it. So I wanted to share that with you guys and let like a little brainstorming session. So maybe this will help you guys with how you're building your decks and how you're running them, as well as maybe you can leave comments on maybe I miss, maybe there was a missed opportunity here. So I'd love to hear the feedback, and that's kind of what I want to use this channel for, kind of moving forward, is to just kind of have fun, talk about the game, talk about the various aspects of the whether it's gotcha games or TCGs, and just have fun with it, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and yeah, dive right into the video. Okay, so welcome back. We are going to go ahead and dive right into the TLDR of this video. I want to try to do that at the beginning of every one of these videos to make this a little faster for you guys when you want to kind of consume my content. I know you guys don't want to watch this whole entire video. So let's just cover first off, this is the deck itself. It's called Yellow Duo. I will have a link down below, actually a link to the experts site here that will have this list. Basically, this will give me an import and export list for you guys, as well as just, if you just want to come see the deck, whatever the case may be. That'll all be linked down below. Now, the notes on this deck. So highlights really quickly to go through this. Things to note: Nez is one of the most important characters in the combination herself, mainly because her with this Tanjiro pair so well together. You can utilize the Tanjiro to always get back your raid target out of the sideline, and then you get that free play, which granted, that free play, you usually always want to do a base Nezuko right on the free play. If you can, always try to prioritize getting the 3000 on the front line, sacrifice it out, keep it in drop in the sideline, so that way you can then bring it back and proc that 1000 reduction. It's really helpful, especially against like those Code Geass decks with the Lancelots, as well as a lot of the other cards or a lot of other decks that are coming with the 5k and 4500 variant cards out there, right? So definitely make sure that you're paying a lot of attention to your Nezes on the field, so that way you can keep the raid targets going, as well as always keeping kind of one in hand for the free play of the Tanjiro, so you get maximum effect of his ability. He's guaranteed an impact, but his salvage and free play really set him above par on a lot of aspects as well. So definitely pay attention to that. Also, you will notice I do have 4 of 4 here. Now, we have both 4 of the other variant, that's the 4500 with impact until your next turn, and we have the impact salvage free play. This one's kind of a no-brainer. This one I have seen variants where there'll be like maybe 1, 2 of them, mainly because a lot of people make the counter argument of he becomes vanilla super quick. However, my argument on my particular build is you will notice that almost every single one of these characters is a raid target, other than we have the Crows and we have the Zenitsus, right? So you have 6 cards other than your 8 event cards, which is pretty much standard across the board, that are all raid targets. So utilizing 8 raid targets is really good. And then actually my Tanjiro to raid target ratio on this one is pretty well balanced, because I do find that I get a lot of these Tanjiros, either one of them, in my life more often than not. And it really helps me with either getting out a Nezuko or a Tanjiro, because usually they're two always in the life. By having this mini on board, what it allows me to do is just always free play those. And 9 out of 10 times it really swifts the momentum of this game every time. I don't know how many times where I pulled a raid Nezi, free played or moved her back to the front or back line so she can't be killed from some other target ability, fixed a glitch in my energy line with that as well, or something along those lines, right? And then immediately next turn push her forward, and then push forward like the 3 energy drop here one, right? And then that way, oh hey, I attack with 3k, okay, and I attack with her, now I swap him back, boost whatever I send forward 1000, right? A really nice combo, really good synergy altogether. I would definitely say people who would enjoy playing this type of a deck is going to be the type of player that would like to manipulate their lines, right? Like, the whole point of this is you want to get Tanjiro on the field with impact, guaranteed impact, and you want to use a Nezuko and make sure that when you're swinging with Nezuko, that you're swinging after Tanjiro's attack, because you want to rest a Tanjiro so that way you can proc her ability and move a character backwards. So that's essentially what her ability is doing. Um, on during your turn, if you have a Tanjiro in play, she becomes a 4K. If not, she's always a 35. That's why she's 35 plus. And then her, when attacking, is as soon as you attack, you do the swap, and then that's usually when you want to go ahead and proc this Tanjiro to boost anything, right? So that's really what you're looking for on this type of a deck, and that's the breakdown. We can go ahead and dive more into why I selected each card that's kind of in the lineup, because I know there are other options on there. So I know that's something that's a lot of people are always curious about when I talk to them in general about my deck builds in person, right? Because I have built this in person. Obviously, this is the exact same deck I've been using in all my tournaments, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So essentially what I went with here is I wanted to go full siblings as much as I could. The reason being is because we do have 12 raid targets total in this deck. And we only do have 2 color triggers as well, right? So we're kind of at a good balance, I would say, as far as the raid targets in the deck itself. But one thing that I've noticed in other decks is sometimes you do struggle a little bit with getting the specific raid targets you're looking for. I actually find this deck seems to synergize so well because I do have such an abundance of raid targets that I don't typically find myself not being able to play my raid cards. If anything, I might actually find myself with the opposite effect of sometimes I actually need more base cards to play to get the raid out. So, which is, I guess, good and bad, right? Half a dozen, one or the other, as far as like whether you see that as a glass half full or half empty on good or bad. However, I can tell you with like experience with playing it, I don't break out very often because I've lowered the energy cost of the deck pretty well. But because I am limited to just these cards, like having this whole board being only the raid targets is tremendously helpful for trying to play this deck. It usually succeeds pretty well, especially if I get any type of raid targets in the life. One thing to kind of pay attention to that I like to utilize in like this experts website here when I'm looking at these decks is kind of paying attention to my cost range, my triggers overall as well. I don't care so much about the power range. This is a very good dynamic to pay attention to see how strong your deck's realistically going to be. But a lot of things that this doesn't take into consideration as well is also like, okay, 35 pluses that have the abilities to boost up, right? Like on turn. So I don't usually pay attention to power range, but triggers are super important to keep in mind of, and cost range is helpful as well. You'll notice that this deck, it's utilizing 12 zeros, 4 ones, 8 twos, 12 threes, and 14 4 energies. Now, typically 14 4 energies is a lot to go with. The reason why I say that is mainly because 4 energies you want to utilize as your like raid targets, right? Like those are typically like, this would be the Nezuko's, this would be your Tanjiros. These would be the damage dealing 4K bodies that go on your main floor. Typically we like to make those our raid targets, right? Like, so those have the better abilities. You don't want to oversaturate your deck with 4 energy drops, because what happens is then you can't have a very good synergetic deck, right? You have too much energy cost in hand and you just never get to play the cards out because your kill spells and your, let's call them Bankais for my purposes, or your AP get backs for your final triggers, those typically require at least 3 2 4 energy as well. So you're really elevating the threshold of your deck being able to function properly, because your energy cap is what's kind of build this. So with this deck, I get around a lot of the energy requirement issues with sacrificing characters to try to block by actually utilizing the crow. Because I'm utilizing the crow, what I'm doing is I get to you get to play the crow usually on the energy line. Hopefully I get in within the first couple turns, so that way I can then activate main and then get out my 3 energy Tanjiro. Once I get that out, it's usually pretty much off to the races at that point, because I will usually have like a Nezuko or something else on the field. And now it's time to start swapping, right? So we have a couple of cards here, like this Nesco, which if you read the ability here, it actually allows you to, at the start of your attack phase, go ahead and swap a character. What that will do for you is automatically proc this Tanjiro, because it's moving outside of your main phase, right? Moving during your attack phase at that point, because that's when the trigger affects. So then giving that 1000 boost, which is really helpful to go ahead and boost up the 2K to 3K, 3K to 4K. Various other cards, right? Like Zenitsu, you always want to try to push him forward as soon as you utilize him. There's why he's only 2 in the deck, because he's only for filtering. And because I'm utilizing so many of the base targets on the field here, with all the siblings being my raid targets, there's not a whole lot of filtering needed. However, sometimes it is nice when you want to filter and get a certain raid card, for example, and you're not really hitting very often as far as what cards you have in hand, right? Super helpful. You can never really go wrong with filtering, unless you get like the 4 of 5 of the main character that you're trying to really play. And if you did that, unfortunately, you get a bad cut, bad shuffle. GG's. It happens to the best of us. But we don't need to utilize as much filtering in this deck, because I have eliminated a lot of the unopportunistic type raid targets, right? Like a lot of these cards will synergize very well within themselves. We are utilizing mostly more Tanjiros than the Nescos as much as possible. You'll notice that we have 4 Nescos, and we actually have 10 of the base raid targets. Typically, I don't like to oversaturate by that much when it comes to raid to base targets. But this deck synergizes just so well with with basically the free play Nesco and salvage Nesco ability here with this Tanjiro, that you just want to oversaturate with a little bit with the Nesco. So it's going to be totally okay. It won't affect the feel of the deck as much. Also, we have 8 total raid targets here for Tanjiro. So normally on a deck like this, I would really want to overbalance my Tanjiros, right? If we have 8 raid targets, you need at least 8 bases. Realistically, you want to make sure that you're covered for about like a 1.5 ratio-ish, something like that. So really, you're looking for at least 12 bases here. In this case, I actually got a little bit more than that, right? So I got 4, 4, 8, 12, and then plus 2, right? So I ended up with 2 additional. And a lot of people will argue, well, no, this isn't a raid target because it's 2 AP. Not realistically. This is still a raid target. You get much more better value out of the vanilla Tanjiro in the long run, or the regular impact Tanjiro here. And I only say that because the reason why you get more effect out of this one vanilla is because you've already played it. Then you've already went ahead and sacrificed him, because at the end of the day, once you play this card, that 3K ability procs, it's vanilla 4K all day long. Always raid over vanilla 4K if you can, especially to get a card like this out, right? You can't raid over a raid target or a raid character that's a raid, or that it could be a raid target, but you can raid over a 2 AP energy card. There's nothing to stop you from this. So definitely don't forgo this. And this is why we have a 14 and kind of went above and beyond on the ratio of like base cards to raid cards. I definitely feel like it helps as well. But overall, kind of in general, guys, that is the deck that I've been utilizing. The links will be down below. This is kind of my first time making one of these videos. Definitely leave comments on how you would like me to see this a little bit better, maybe a better way to lay this out. I did also make a graphic for you guys, so go ahead and jump into that and kind of talk about it. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna attach this to the video. I will try to work on that and get this attached. But I did kind of make this in general. As you can see here, it is a general workflow for this deck itself. Green lines are your combo type effects. Your orange lines are your synergistic abilities, right? So we kind of vaguely talked about these during the video. Hopefully this will dive a little bit more into what I meant with that. So for example, when we're talking about the synergistic video, right? Like the synergistics of this game, of the characters, we have this Tanjiro. This Tanjiro allows us to free play. So like I was saying, you want to go ahead and grab the play on front line reduced by 1,000 free play, and it reduces, right? Especially if you have a 5K base, bring it down to 4K so that way you can start wailing on it. It can't be a blocker, right? You can't stop that impact. Also, don't be afraid to get this played and then play the 2 energy. What that'll do for you is lower a target down by 1,000 and then kill it off if it's a 4K body. It's very powerful, especially in the synergistics of the game, right? one other thing to keep in mind is the crow, like I was stating here, guys. Definitely make sure you activate that ability and go ahead and sacrifice it. If you can get out a 3-star Nez, or sorry, 3 energy Nez, or a 3 energy Tanjiro, you want to get that out immediately, like as quick as you can, because it starts to really add up on the board, right? The whole part about getting the Nez out there is there's so many base Tanjiros that you've been on play that you can go ahead and you start swapping it and out and doing those extra attacks in those battles. So sacrificing this extra 2 energy is nothing, guys. Definitely don't hesitate whatsoever. That's going to kind of do it for this. I'll leave this somewhere that kind of gives you some general notes, thoughts on targets, abilities, kind of like ability to play the deck hopefully a little bit better for you guys. Yeah, once again, leave comments down below. Give me your thoughts, feedback. Appreciate it. And until next time, peace.